Welcome to game number 2 of Pbhead versus ryak. Pb taking the first game with a very heavy dive into debt, but managing to pull off an impressive amount of cash while doing that. We'll see how he fares this game on IO with an electronics colony this time, but some garages and a lot of high prices. So what does that actually leave us with? There aren't many good basalt locations. This is a potentially useful expansive spot, or even a robotic spot. Going for a scientist, though. Definitely do not like this scientist. Well, it's not terrible. There are no magnetic storms or pirates. That is a thing this patch. So Pb does definitely have the option to go for a bunch of remote basalt. I do like ryak's scientist just a lot better. There's no longer the time penalty for building on basalt. So basalt is just strictly better than iron. Has access to a little more ice, has access to better aluminum, and has the option to move into, say, glass over here if he needs to. It is a much smaller basalt lake than I had realized at first, so it's not going to be as great as he'd probably like, but it is still usable. In the meantime, ryak has also gone ahead and grabbed the better carbon. He's set up well to go into this very lucrative fuel market again. This is a thing that happens on IO a lot. With these garages, the fuel price just climbs really quickly. Pb is definitely going to be helping with that with these two very long distance shipping lanes. Pb is also just looking to upgrade quickly, whereas ryak is looking to get into fuel. Pb did buy a claim, interestingly. Doesn't get to go into oxygen. I don't know that I love that move. It's just not a great market. Thing is, Pb is already in the silicon. I probably prefer him to put this glass down here. If not, glass out there or something. Also, there's no real need for you to pull in raw silicon when there is just all this basalt as an option. I don't know how much experience Pb has on... Well, actually, he has played a fair amount of IO. Don't know how much 1v1 he's played on IO, because, frankly, none of us have really played much 1v1 on IO. But yeah, definitely some questionable decisions there. ryak making very, very nice money on these iron collectors. Lagoon is also nice. I do need to see these players make some move into power before long. Is this going to be glass? No, it's going to be nuclear. Yeah, that is fair. Power, again, just insane at this point. ryak boosting steel to get his power up better. Not really a huge fan of that move, because this is all just not defended still. So Pb can just drop the freeze whenever he wants. Although he might be worried about the free goon in the back of his mind. Yeah, again, Pb just not making use of the basalt at all, and that is going to cost him if things go long. ryak auto-selling through this radiation storm, Pb not. ryak is going to get the lion's share of this fuel income. Pb finally realizing how quickly that price is dropping, sells out a bunch, but it's too late. ryak already took a nice, solid lead off of that. Debt-wise, they're around even. Pb is going to be pulling ahead in the debt department thanks to his nuclear plants actually being online. And ryak needs to find a way back into this now that his fuel has dropped off so completely. One thing I probably would have liked to have seen, maybe? Actually, ryak did still have a lot of claims. I guess he just upgraded and had that going. Ryak buying a ton of uranium feels completely unnecessary. Yes, these consume a lot of uranium, but you don't want to be spending all that money up front to power them. In fact, Ryak probably wants to get out of some of these nuke plants before long. Power's very nearly dead. There's a very natural and nice transition into water right now. Water covers some amount of the power drop-off. Again, just a very lucrative market thanks to scientific powers. He's going into the water now, though. It's going to be nice. And, well, he does need to sell out of all this uranium so he can actually move forward in this game. Glass is dangerous without a stockpile of silicon. Silicon is very cheap, so he's able to buy into that if he wants. And he should. If I'm Ryak, I probably just stick to the 2 glass and have this aluminum here. It does need more aluminum to get to the next HQ level. And you probably don't want 3 glass kilns without any silicon to support. But we'll see what happens. PB not moving out of these nuclear plants definitely feels like a mistake by this point. It's not going to get anything done. Slant is a weird auction. I'm not quite sure why these players are bidding so much on it. Pretty much anything that's good to slant is going to diminish before too long. And there just aren't that many resources that they're not going to have access to without slant. Definitely feels like a mistake that it got that high in this double scientists game. Right. Ryak did do a good job of holding on to water until PB moved in and then selling. Should not be auto-selling this fuel though. And not getting him much money, if any. And at this point, now that he transitioned out of some of them, he's going to wish this stockpile were larger. But that's okay. Patent Lab should be able to get some nice things done. In particular, probably liquid batteries, maybe synthetic meat.
The black market is online.
Nanotech always nice. We'll see what actually happens there. Interesting choice of boost. Probably would have gone for more steel-based myself, but I guess this makes sure that one thing stays on. The other option would have been to just boost the Patent Lab. At this point, PB is kind of stalled out. He's not making very much money on anything. It's going to change a bit. He's going to get those nice glass kilns online. But other than that, uranium's not worth much, this carbon's not worth much, this aluminum's not worth much, this isn't enough water. The food will be nice. Fuel's not worth much, steel is worth something. And Ryak is just keeping up very nicely off of that. What is this about? Oh, okay, that is ice. Okay, never mind. Transparent aluminum, a bit of an odd choice. I mean, I guess it works. Glass is expensive. Ryak is probably going to have to move out of glass soon without any silicon. And he has very strong aluminum under this, so that should be fine. I still never really liked this single farm. It needed to be helped somehow. Either by picking up a claim, getting another farm down, or just switching these glass into another farm plus aluminum. Getting the second farm down now is fine. These glass still need to be dealt with. And again, there are options. Probably just move that into double aluminum. Other options, well, you can just add back another ion and then move into some chems. Chems are very strong at this point, with some light consumption from the colony and a lot of spending on chems on this patent lab. As it is, all the chem money is going to PB, and he is going to be enjoying that quite a bit. Chem's just very, very profitable. well, power was bound to get crazy again once these players moved out of their nuclear plants. Superconductor would be a very nice pickup at this point to deal with that. I do not see any reason to be nuking carbon. Carbon typically is very strong on IO, and I guess PV doesn't have much of a stockpile at all. So ryak could potentially make that work, but it's just a much longer term play when ryak is a fair bit behind right now and needs to catch up. Ryak also just desperately needs to get power online. PB is trying to solve his power with a single geo, which just isn't enough. Both players just seem committed to not having enough power. PB actually moving to those 2 nuclear plants now is definitely going to be helpful. I really wish ryak would be using this patent lab a little bit if he's going to keep it down. Although it is expensive, so it's understandable. Getting these nuclear plants down will help. It would help more with superconductor. Because he can definitely expect this to get frozen out. So if he leaves, if he still has this one under the goon, then you can boost that even, and that would be insane. Although with this network virus auction, ooh, PV making a play on fuel. Very nice. Yeah, that was always going to be one concern about, I mean, we talked about that earlier, how ryak wasn't stockpiling fuel enough, and how that transition was going to lead to problems later. And we already see that. Definitely something to always watch out for on IO. Because you're consuming fuel and water, you're consuming fuel to produce chems, colonies consuming a ton of fuel, and you're shipping with fuel. It's just hard to escape fuel going crazy. Okay, ion coming back down there. ryak does have nanotech, so he can actually get out of this patent lab now and move into the second ion, and also just nanotech to save his life. It doesn't look like he's gonna do that though, and that does mean this one is going to be over. PB, use basalt. That's most of what I have to say about this one. Yeah, it was a pretty solidly played game by ryak. Up until the patent lab, I think. There were a lot of transitions that he got right, and he took a nice lead at some point. The uranium was a strange play. But other than that, he definitely had a good shot in this one. Just couldn't quite convert it. But it's nice to see him putting up some nice signs of life against a very tough player.